Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward. Hey guys, Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. I will be doing some altcoin requests that I got from Twitter. As I said before, I'm charting on my shitty laptop, so apologize for the poor quality, but yeah, should be fun to get back to doing some of these videos. I'll preface this video by just saying that if Bitcoin nukes below this 40K area, then we are going to see some really big altcoin death. I do believe that Bitcoin is going to just hold this area as a range though, from 40 to 50,000. You can look at my last video for some of my thoughts on that, but there's just a lot of confluence with this area. I know it looks bad right now, but there's a 200-day EMA volume profile, high volume node around this area. And there's just a lot of confluence, SR flip. As I said, I think that this area is a pretty good entry area. I know it looks bad right now, but I think it's still okay for right now. But with that said, if Bitcoin does nuke lower, then altcoins will just die off, in both pairs, BTC and USD. But I'm expecting this to be a pretty good entry area for a lot of these altcoins personally. It depends on what altcoin you're talking about, and I can go more into this a little bit later, but I don't expect stuff like Link to really move just because it's been accumulating for a while. I do expect the hot altcoins to really benefit from Bitcoin moving from 40 to 50 or so, and I actually expect altcoins to outperform Bitcoin while it's still in this range. From 40 to 50 to 55 or so. But once 55 gets broken, and I still am bullish on Bitcoin, I think that altcoins will just go and take a nap. So that's kind of my overall macro idea, is that I'm using this time to accumulate. I'll be using this time to accumulate more Bitcoin by selling my alt positions from 40 to 50 or so, because I believe alts will outperform. And then once Bitcoin breaks above 55 or so, then I think that alts just take a nap. So let's just, this will be more of a video on altcoins too, by the way. It's I'm not going to really review Bitcoin at all. So this is the ETH USD chart on the daily, and to me, I still view this kind of area as this was just an overall range, and price broke above it, hit a kind of resistance area up here for obvious reasons. This was near the all-time high level, 4,000 that is. Price hit that level and is now pulling back. I believe that we'll see some sort of higher low being formed. I think that this area around 2,500 is an interesting area to bid. It's the 200-day EMA. This you can call this a demand zone, order block, whatever you want to call it, just SR, support level. There's a lot of things you can call this area, but it looks pretty good to me. But for now, this is still support. 2,900 is still support. It's the range high, SR flip, etc. So I think ETH USD still looks pretty decent to me. But ETH is kind of its own altcoin. It's going to follow Bitcoin more than anything else, in my opinion, just based on market cap and everything else. So, okay, so let's look at some altcoins here. We'll look at MATIC. MATIC is just an inactive trade. You don't really want to take this one if you are actively trading. It's just a coin that's just going to sit around and do nothing for a long time. It's on the 200-day EMA, so it should theoretically just hold this area. I'm guessing it just continues to chop around from $1 to $150, somewhere around along there. That's kind of my overall opinion of MATIC. It's not a very interesting active trade right now. So I mean, you can buy it to just fill a bag and just let it sit. There's nothing wrong. The project is still obviously great, but it's not an active trade. So expecting just more chop in between these levels. DOT. So there's a few different outcomes for DOT. I believe that if layer 1 hype still continues higher, then this will test $50. But the problem with this is that I don't think the parachains are all totally active from what I understand yet. And I know there's going to be like a lot of people saying like DOT's a layer 0, blah, blah, blah. But the thing with DOT is that it probably is not going to follow the other layer 1 hypes because you can't really actively do a whole bunch of stuff on their blockchain. Like, you know, AVAX is like huge because all like the DeFi people went over, all the farmers, all of like, you can build a lot of stuff on their ecosystem and it's very active. Like DOT, I don't know if that's going to happen quite yet. You have to wait. I mean, I do think that DOT will be a good one to buy in the coming weeks and months when it does go live. But until that time, like maybe not. So anyways, I thought this was like, there's two outcomes. Number one, we could go to $50 and then pull back. And number two was we just chop around. And it's looking like we might just chop around for now. I mean, that's what we're looking at right now. This 200-day EMA around $24 could be like a pretty interesting entry. Expecting just more consolidation between 24 to 35 or so, or 40. That's kind of like my area of interest for DOT. But like, again, similar to MATIC, it's not really a super good active trade. The active trades that you want to take right now are the ones where we see some like a lot of activity, and that's like DYDX, the other dexes like SUSHI or whatever, and those are the coins that are taking all the liquidity right now. Like we'll look at Link next or very soon, and those coins are not really moving at all, and those aren't really the coins that you want to trade in my opinion, just because actively trade. Because there's not as much volatility, and we'll look at the charts in a sec. I briefly want to go into LTC BTC because I believe that there's a lot of people asking for alt BTC pairs, and a lot of them just look bad. Like they don't look good. They all, not all, of course. Like a lot of them do look similar to something like this. Like, you know, if we look at the Link BTC chart. I mean, this one looks better than the LTC chart, but there's just not a lot going on right now. And here's Link BTC. I'll also review LTC BTC, but these aren't really good active trades right now. And I believe that alt BTC like will continue to range and consolidate for a while. I don't think that this is a good active trade, and I do actually believe that these will lose value once Bitcoin starts to move hard. Once Bitcoin starts to move hard, I believe these will actually go lower. So like something like this 36K Satoshis area will like be an interesting area. But I would not trade alt BTC personally right now because a lot of the charts don't look so good. I do expect altcoins to outperform Bitcoin though in the next little stretch, so you could like maybe like have some short-term swing positions, but like in terms of active trading where you just expect them to move hard within a day, this is not the environment for that. So something like this would make sense to me, where we see altcoins outperform Bitcoin from 40 to 50. So this goes up to like 72K sats and then comes down lower once Bitcoin starts to move. That would make a lot of sense to me. So let's briefly look at LTC BTC. As I said, like many of the charts look pretty shitty, and I'm just expecting these to like continue consolidating. Alt BTC generally have two modes. Usually it's like super hard pump, super hard dump. Like as you can see here, like from March to May, we just saw like super hard pump, and then we saw like super hard dump since that time. There are obviously periods during where we see heavy accumulation, like Doge is a good example of that, but in my opinion, this just like goes down, and maybe LTC is just like not a good example because like why would you use LTC given all the other coins? But yeah, anyways. Okay, let's look at Link right now. Link, it looks fine. I got a lot of hate right on Twitter for saying that I wouldn't really buy Link at all right now. I mean, sure, good long-time project, but 200-day EMA, this red line is acting as support and resistance. It's flipping resistance now. Just expecting this to just continue chopping around. Like anywhere from 20 to 35 would just make a lot of sense to me. So maybe like it dips below, or even like to 16 maybe. I doubt it'll go that low unless Bitcoin shits the bed. And then we'll go up to like 35. Something like this would make sense to me, where we just continue chopping around. But this is not really a great active trade in my opinion. It's good if you need liquidity and you trade huge size. Obviously, Link is great for that. But in terms of the actual volatility, this is not really good for 95% of traders. ADA looks like it's coming down. It just looks like an ugly chart. This is ADA USD. Next support area would be this $2 area. I think that like this 200-day EMA might come back up. So maybe like 180 or so would be like a good entry. Like traditionally, this is like a good entry point for many altcoins, and it hasn't really tapped it in quite some time. So given the overall context of the environment, I think that this comes lower to like 180 or so. Now you can like say this is like a good long-term bag. I mean, we laughed at ADA for years, but this thing has definitely done fucking great the last few months, so I can't really laugh at it anymore. But I do think that lower is coming before higher. Like eventually this will like go higher. I just don't know when. Solana I think looks okay, but again, similar to other coins, I think it's like kind of meh. 200-day EMA, there's still like a long ways to go. You can like use other EMAs, but on the 4 hour, the 200 EMA is holding as support for now, but you can see it's just like a ranging consolidation. Like a better way to visualize this might just be like some lower highs being formed with pretty much equal lows. So just like it's kind of consolidating, or I mean, you can even argue this like higher lows, like that. It depends on how you want to use trend lines. It depends on what your context is. To me, this is just like consolidation. I don't really think this is good or bad. I think it's just going to keep chopping. I think anywhere from 130 to 170 is like the range that this will play for the most part. Again, similar to other coins, I don't know. This is a great active trade. It's maybe good if you want to accumulate here, but yeah, I probably would not trade this actively unless you are looking for liquidity. AVAX, this trend is still bullish. I am worried that layer ones will start to take a nap. There is a lot of activity on AVAX. This is one of my biggest positions. The market structure still is bullish as far as I can tell. And if you look at it from a higher time frame context, like the former all-time high level at 60 and 55, like those two areas look pretty interesting in terms of support if price does come there. The trend is still high and up, as you can see, like higher highs, higher lows. Could be a higher low forming right now. As you can see, these like lows take a little bit of time to form. Like you can see right here, it took a little bit of time to form. And here it took a little bit of time to form. And of course, back here, it took a little time to form. So like, these lows, they take a while to form. So maybe like, as I said, the trend is still it's still bullish. I don't think you can call it anything else right now. There is a lot of high sell volume coming in, which is a little bit concerning. But if I am looking for a top pattern, I'm looking for something to consolidate, something like this. Usually distribution comes in the form of like something like this. And you'll start to see sell volume dominate. And you can make an argument that this is like topping out here. Like I can see that. Like, you see high volatility. This will come down eventually. I just don't know when or where. I still think it's like going to be like $100. That's like kind of my target, but we'll see if Avalanche Autumn or whatever the fuck they call it is really a thing. Atom USD, I think this is coming down. Again, similar to other layer one hype stuff. I'm not sure where this is going to go. And you can maybe make an argument too that we just saw a lower high just get formed. So you see like high, and then you see like lower high just formed right here. And if we break below 30 bucks, then that's like certainly a lower low in my opinion, or like more like 28, 29 if you want to get like very technical on it. So be careful on that, and like you can start to see sell volume kind of piling in. We might be seeing the end of layer ones for a little bit. I think I might have to exit some of my other positions looking at this now, some of my other layer ones. Just go into like switch to something else. Theta, I actually think this is going to be one to watch for early next cycle, and there's a few reasons because of that. I think that these types of coins, they didn't really pump at all. Like, I mean, sure, yeah, this went from 3 to 9. like 350 to 950 or whatever really well. This one did have like a nice reversal, but compared to some of the other altcoins, it really didn't do super great. And this is actually what I'm expecting for many other altcoins, where we see kind of this V-shaped bottom, and then we see like a lower high forms as we saw around 950, and then now it's down like 50% from that. So I'm expecting, I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of price action like this, where we just see this like continue to grind down and hit like some sort of like double bottom type of pattern, and then just chop around for a little bit longer, and then like we'll see this go. But this should go pretty strong, I think, in early Q1 of 2022 or end of the year of 2021, because it is pulling back harder and faster than anything else, and Theta also like has its own kind of market cycle usually, at least it has in the past. So you know, something like this would make a lot of sense to me, where we hit some sort of double bottom, chop around, and then go higher. DYDX, this coin and similar coins like it, all the dexes have taken a lot of the spotlight for recently. There's several reasons for this, Huobi, Binance, FUD, etc., but I use this fib extension here to map some targets. I would be a little bit careful here. Like the trend is still up on higher time frames, but we might have just seen a lower high being formed, where we see high here, and then we see a lower high just printed as well. Like, and if we see this low at 1913 get lost, then that could be a lower high on the 1 hour, or lower low, I'm sorry. And in this case, it's probably going to go lower. In that case, I would look, like if you want like a risky-ish entry around 1750, that's like kind of near the all-time high levels, that would be like your first risky entry. And then we just like use like a regular fib too, if this is indeed the top. Then at this point, like 17 or so would be like kind of like your area of interest. 1750. But again, like let's just see how the next like few hours play out for this one. Like it's still like coins like this have been taking up all of the liquidity for altcoins. COTI looks good. I don't know what the hell happened there. I don't know what the hell COTI does, but it's like it clearly looks great for right now. All-time high levels. Like this is a area that probably will have some resistance, but this area has been tapped several times, so I actually think that if price continues to grind here, then we'll see it break through, because there's not as much liquidity, sell side liquidity, because it's been tapped like already several times, like 1, 2, 3, like 4, 5, 6. Like these, like all these sellers are getting like those orders are getting filled. So I think that usually, generally speaking, if we see this continue to chop around, then I think we see a break, especially with this volume coming through. But again, similar to my disclaimer initially, if Bitcoin shits the bed, then this will also like not make it through. SUSHI, the dexes have been doing well, but it's also interesting to note that SUSHI is not necessarily the same basket as DYDX or PERP, because it's not a derivatives protocol, like it's decentralized derivatives. Like INJ also did pretty well too. So even though this is a decentralized exchange, like I don't know if you can call it like the same basket as some of the other recent coins. This does look good overall, in terms of just like fundamental analysis stuff. Like, you know, SUSHI's like a strong project, but from like a chart perspective, it looks just kind of mediocre, to be honest with you. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of like make some sort of double bottom type of pattern, where we see like this, maybe like that, I don't know, something like this, like double bottom. But not a great active trade in my opinion. I mean, yeah. FTT BTC, this is a chart that looks different than other alt BTC coins for obvious reasons. I mean, look at this. This is like sustainable, like total market maker, just like probably VWAP or TWAP into this coin. It's like constant buys. Yeah, you don't want to fade this. It looks, I mean, the trend is still up, obviously, for FTT BTC. You can't really argue anything else. Looks like it might be forming like a higher low here, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it looks good. Like there's nothing to really say about this. It's just like a bullish trend. You can see that this area here was former like all-time high level in May, and then now it's support. So wouldn't surprise me to see some chop here, and then like continue up. But again, all BTC pairs are more macro driven in my opinion in terms of looking at big picture price action. I think these, like as I said before, either moon or doom. I think it's better just to trade them when the environment is right for them. And in my opinion, the environment is not right for all BTC pairs personally. KSM, I think it looks pretty bad. I mean, like great, obviously great coin, great project. Looks like it, like 250 or so will be tested again. Could be a good spot to just get like a long-term bag. And it looks like I drew this line. This was probably more basing it off layer 1/dot hype, but yeah, it looks like it's just pulling back here and like 250 and even lower. Like, you know, you could maybe bid lower, like low 200s. I wouldn't rush into this trade. Like this is like a coin. Like in these types of situations, you never want to just like market buy. For a lot of reasons, like especially given the environment, this is almost certainly going to get lower. And like you don't want to really market buy in situations where price is just choppy and kind of like low volatility, like low volume. Like this is not really the environment to do that. You can just place bids and like layer them, in my opinion. Doge dollar looks bad. Is this right? This is not right. Is it? Yeah, it is, I guess. I thought the Doge chart actually looked better before, but I mean, Doge is going to do what Doge does. 16 cents maybe? Like maybe this is like, as you can see here, this is like a high, this is like a high demand zone. Given like these wicks, like back in April, May, June, July, like this is just like a big demand area. Now, to be said, like you also want to be careful. This is like not the quote unquote 6K level for Bitcoin back in 2018 where we see like the bouncing ball thing. You don't want to see this, of course. And it could happen, but I mean, again, similar to other coins, this is like not a coin where you really want to be like super active, in my opinion. VeChain, I don't know what the hell I was drawing back here. Looks fine. Looks kind of bad. Again, I wouldn't trade this. It's slow. It looks like just like bearish now. It should just come lower. Come lower to 055 or 06, and then we can see what happens. I mean, 200-day EMA support, and now it's resistance, and yeah, I mean, this just like looks bearish to me. It's losing this support level. So yeah, 06. Anyways, this is my overall altcoin review. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I am happy to get back to it. Please leave any comments or questions below.